Hey guys, Desolator Magic here. Okay, better late than never. It's Chapter 5, the final chapter of the main story for the lore for Kaldheim. I've been putting it off because these take forever, but I am personally interested in how this ends. I believe at the end of Chapter 4, Tybalt let the demons out of Inner Sturm, or whatever it's called, so now they're going to invade everywhere, and everybody's invading everybody, and it's basically a game of Risk. So this chapter starts with a raven flying for artistic reasons. Maybe it'll come up. And then basically they describe that the battle's already going. They've lost the Eastern Fold and it'll soon be the whole darn Aldergard. For this particular invasion, they're saying that they've never seen so many trolls in one place, all working together too. Clearly they've never been to mtgsalvation.com. Although working together might be a little generous. But then it turns out that on another front, they're fighting the demon invasion. And it turns out all the younger warriors are going after the demons because I guess slaying trolls isn't as cool. You know, bragging rights and all. So two of the main characters of this battle are the clan leaders Arnie Brokenbrow from that one red card, and Finn the Fangbearer, Captain Poison Counters himself. I assume he's going to defeat the demons and the trolls simultaneously by just making them forfeit. He'll just walk out onto the battlefield and they'll be like, it's not worth it, and they'll leave to go, like, join a different realm from a different game. They'll go join, like, Skyrim or something. Watch, a bunch of Norse mythology demons just show up in Domain TCG, and I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. They fled one game to a better game, as have I. Now, for legal reasons, I have to say they're a former channel sponsor. So we got, Inga there, Rune Eyes, we got some Omen speakers, we got some other people, we got Sigrid there, got some elf leaders. They're cool, I guess. I'm surprised they got that many people to work together, to be honest. Oh, and then Tyvar, the douchey leader of the elves, and Kaya showed up to this meeting too. Damn. And about 0.1 seconds after Grandpa Finn shows up, he says, no serpent-kissing elf can call himself my friend. Least of all their prince. Tyvar, a.k.a. Tyler. Oh, it's like your racist grandpa showing up to Thanksgiving all over again, except honestly, I hate the elves. Everybody hates the elves. I'll give them a pass on this one. So as they're all arguing and insulting each other, Sigrid's like, okay, shut up. Everybody, shut the hell up. So then she breaks it down. She's like, all right, we got trolls, we got demons, we got giants, both frost and fire. She actually specified. Rampaging through the realms. Now I hear reports of Draugr, which means the Dreadmarn, Karfel's dread army, or dead army, or I assumed it was a typo, but it works either way. So that sucks, but we've got some weapons. Ooh, I hope they have nukes. That would be cool. So then, surprisingly, Sigrid pulls out the Sword of the Realms, which was last known to be in, Discount Loki, aka Tybalt's hands. So they either got it off him somehow, or could be some kind of counterfeit. So everybody's like, oh, Cole must have finished it. Well, yeah, he finished it, and then Tybalt stole it and threw him in the furnace. But then get this, Sigrid's like, yeah, but we don't know how to work it because he took the secrets of how to use it to the grave. Well, it didn't take Tybalt long, though. So everybody's like, hey, fancy sword, but it's literally just a sword. How are we supposed to close a doom scar? And then somebody steps out of the shadows in the corner, dramatically, I assume, even though they didn't say it. It's Allrund, and he says, well, the person it was made for probably knows how to use it. Halvar, the god of battle. So they keep acting like, oh, it won't be hard to find him, but also we know exactly where he is, and it's in this realm. Okay. Just call an Uber, go visit him. Oh, apparently they actually did call ancient Norwegian Uber, aka giant ravens that they're now flying on the backs of. Oh, I bet you it's like Uber, except you pay them in Raven coins. Yes, that's a real cryptocurrency. While they were flying there, they saw two intersecting realms that made a crack in the ground, and there were mad Draugr crawling out of there, even undead trolls. So they do finally find Halvar standing right next to an entire, quote, mound of destroyed Draugr, nearly waist high. But just then, the ravens get attacked by Varagoth himself, the demon that caused some serious trouble in the past. He looked mad about his thousands of years of imprisonment. So he must have been riding on, I don't know, chicken's done. Anyway, while that cools off, he must have been riding on some kind of dragon or something because they were flying up in the air on the ravens when he totally knocked one of the ravens out of the sky, basically. And then a couple of them started falling. So Kaya's all like, land on the ground, land in the river, not very good options all around. Somehow, before she hit the ground, she knows advanced skydiving techniques and gets to Arnie, grabs him, gets to Tyvar, grabs him, turns them, out of phase or what. I don't know how it works. She actually more grabbed Arnie and then they together crashed into Tyvar about 5 seconds before they hit the ground. And then she turned all of them, quote, insubstantial. How do her ghost powers really work? Whatever's convenient for the story. It kind of says that she like literally turns into like a ghost or spirit form, but that's all they really explain. So, I mean, terminal velocity is what? 180 miles an hour or something like that, depending upon like wind resistance. But somehow she times it just right to turn into ghost form and then turn back into solid form while in the water. Somehow that stopped their inertia. And also, remember when she turned her hand back into physical form while it was still inside of the troll and it like really messed her up? Yes, I guess the much more dense water, and also trolls are like probably 78% water. It doesn't work that way. You just push the water out of the way and then you're swimming. To call all of this absolute nonsense convenient wouldn't even scratch the surface. So they all hauled themselves out of the river and decided to kind of bolt for the one bridge that the Draugr were going for to cross the river. So they're immediately being swarmed by Draugrs. So, they're like, yeah, these guys are slow and their combat abilities are non-existent, but there's an awful lot of them. So at the edges of the Draugr horde, there were some human raiding parties that were working together to kind of drive them off, but the amount coming through the rift seemed pretty endless. But just as they kept running towards the bridge, they heard a very particular type of battle horn sound. Tyler looked over and it was his elf friends. Oh boy. Oh, except I think they're there to attack the humans because Tybalt lied to them. So there's that. So Kaya's like, okay, fine, you're going to go try and talk him out of it. Okay, whatever, bye. When Kaya got up to the bridge, there was a monstrous undead troll there. Just as she was trying to figure out how to fight it, a dolphin jumped out of the river onto the bridge and then morphed into a female form. Because of course it did. It turned out it was another one of the gods of Kaldheim. A big wall of water washed away the Torga troll and a handful of Draugr with it. So Kaya's like, cool. I think I borrowed your boat before. Oh, it's Cosima, god of the sea, by the way. So Kaya's like, we gotta get to Helvar. And she's like, all right. As they ran through the Draugr hordes, killing unbelievable numbers of them, they got about 100 feet from Helvar when they got attacked by whatever demon guy is riding on in the air. They haven't specified. I assume it's a dragon. I'm starting to think that like Helvar is standing at the bridge. I think they're, because they were kind of like going for one and then they were going for the other, and I guess they're just like going for both. I don't know. They seem to have changing missions. I assumed they were going to blow the bridge so that the Draugr couldn't get across it, but then they already are fighting the humans on another front, and I don't know, none of this really makes sense. Oh, they finally specified. It's just Varagoth with wings. I guess he can himself fly. Okay, that didn't seem to ever come up on the art that I noticed. And in fact, no joke, the very next line after they specify that is, he didn't have wings last time, muttered Cosima. So he lands and starts his dramatic, evil boss speech where he says, that blade, I know what you carry. I swear on the endless lives I have taken that you will not trap me again in that desolate, and then boom, gets hit in the head by an axe. So Kaya chucked the first one like straight into his brow, clipping one of his horns and causing him to bleed pretty badly. The second one goes straight into his knee. Golden rule of boss battles. Don't wait for the monologue to finish. So he howls in pain and bends over, and then as he bends over, she pulls one of the hand axes out of his face and like retrieves it. And then she says, I know you're some kind of scary story people tell their kids, but I'm not from around here. Okay, if I was Varagoth, I would like actually be surprised at that, because like everybody's all scared of him, and she's just like, I'm from somewhere else, and I just stabbed you in the face. You want to demoralize your opponent in a fight? It's all about confidence. Also, it helps to have a gun. But Varagoth kept on the onslaught, and boy, Kaya kept getting in some pretty clean blows. Cosima is slicing through his armor like it's not even there, but he doesn't seem to care about all these drastic injuries, I guess. He must have either had some people watching or telepathically called in reinforcements, though, because some other demons landed next to him to back him up. So when he grabs her by the foot, he's like, oh, I'll just slam her into the ground. That'll be pretty bad. Boom, phases out. Boy, that's got to be frustrating. Now, apparently she was starting to get really bad muscle fatigue because, they've been slicing up Draugr for, like, minutes and running and all that. And it kind of occurs to her, it's not too late to leave. This is getting a little hairy. It crossed her mind, but for the meantime, she did reconsider. So just when 2 or 3 more demons kind of step out from the crowd of Draugr, which, how are the Draugr not attacking them? They're from 2 different realms, but okay. I guess evil recognizes evil. So Kaya's like, this is gonna suck, and then suddenly a mysterious force crashed into the Draugr and demons, both from the east, where the rising sun shone their armor and shields, making the ancient tarnished brass seem, for a moment, new again. Elves, she realized. Hey, Tyler did convincing. Yay. So a whole line of pike bearers, I assume also with shields, because that's what they do, formed a wall between Kaya and the demons. They were helping her. Need a hand, came a voice from behind her that sounded an awful lot like Tyler. He was sitting on top of an armored reindeer because, of course, he was. And as they got acquainted with Tyler's brother, Viragoth came crashing through the line of pike bearers because, duh, he has a weight advantage. He got stabbed, more than a couple times in the gaps in his armor by the pikers, but he didn't seem to mind. So the rest of the demons are like, okay, these guys aren't that tough, and it just turned into an all-out battle. Tyler's like, hey, this armor ain't going to stand up to giant axes, but hold my beer. He touches one of the elves and it spreads to all of them. All their armor starts glowing, and then the next person to kind of land a blow on the armor, it just sparks and jumps off like it's not even there. Don't you hate indestructibility spells? So, I don't know, King Harold, Lieutenant Harold? I thought Tyler, aka Tyvar, was the king of the elves. I don't know, they're brothers, maybe they're like sibling kings. I forgot who's what rank, but anyway, Harold, whoever he is like, oh yeah, we gotta get to the bridge. And she's like, should we just leave Tyler here? And he like turned his hands into, solid brass fists or whatever, because he does, brass manipulation, transmutation crap. And remember, he has like a 22 dexterity in a game that only allows for 20. That's the best analogy. By the way, as of last D&D session, so does my rogue. Deck of many things, bitches. The rules don't apply to me. You get a +2, you can exceed 20. I mean, how else would you interpret that? 22 dex, baby. But anyway, yeah, Tyvar's jumping around and just like punched him in the face, and Harold's like, he looks like he's having fun, let's go. So she jumps up onto the other reindeer that they're riding, and they try and make the way to the bridge. Seems inefficient, considering they just mentioned they were 100 feet from the bridge, 1/3 of a football field. You could literally running make that in what, 5-10 seconds? Oh, we're taking the reindeer, damn it. One of the demons was like, oh, those guys look important, tried to take a pot shot with a bow, but Harold waved his hand and turned the bow into a bunch of vines that went up his arms and strangled him. Ooh, that's cold. So they finally get to Helvar, and he's like, oh yeah, I know him, Harold, he's cool. Who are you? And Kaya's like, I'm Kaya. And then she's like, I've got something I think that belongs to you, and gives him the sword. So Harold and him shouldn't really get along. In fact, the first thing he said to him was, you're not going to try to cross this bridge too, are you? And then it was clear Harold was assisting in returning the sword, and he's like, I didn't think an elf would help return the sword. And then Harold says, yeah, and I didn't think I'd be helping out one of the usurper gods, because remember, they locked up the old gods and replaced them. I guess the elves weren't thrilled about that. But then he's like, you're the only one who knows how to, hit the undo button, so here, have the undo sword. So Helvar sits down with the sword in his lap and is like, all right, cover me. So more demons were taking flight looking towards the bridge, kind of knowing what might be going on. Some of the Draugr seemed to be a little bit, one, outnumbering the elves finally, and two, paying attention to what's happening at the bridge. And Kaya and Harold are like, okay, this might be hard. But just then, as they thought they were doomed again, it's Deus Ex Machina number 4, 5, 6, I don't know, in this story. They spotted a roiling, stretching pattern across the sky, like the very air was wearing thin. Air is already thin, and you can't see it. I can't picture that. The edge of the realm seemed to kind of stretch, and then all of a sudden, with a thunderous roar, something tore through. And there it was, with its flat nostrils, a coiled body, arcing fangs laced with venom. But at this scale, they appeared alien and strange. It wasn't simply massive, it was continental. Not just a snake, but the snake. I don't know, I've had a continental breakfast at a Comfort Inn, and it wasn't that big. There was a bit of a line at the Waffle Iron, too. There always is. So Harold's like, oh crap, it's Coma. It started flying overhead, leaving a shadow over about half the entire battlefield, and it just snapped up one of the demons out of the air like it was a mosquito. So almost as suddenly as it had shown up, apparently it just headed for another rift into another realm, because, a lot of rifts going on. And Kaya was so relieved that she didn't immediately notice the other beings spilling out of the rift that Coma had just torn open. They looked like angels, but of course we know they were Valkyries. They are completely synonymous in this plane, though, I should probably point out. So they must have been like, hey, Coma's leaving. Hey, demons. And then just went through the rift and let's kill some demons. I gotta say, I appreciate the adaptability of everybody participating in this battle. So along with the Valkyries, Nico shows up. I'm sure if I would have read the side chapter about the Valkyries and the invasion of the serpent, I would have seen that coming. But Nico starts chucking some shards of, I don't know, the planes, solidified plane crystals. I don't get it. If you thought I didn't know how Kaya's powers work, let me talk about Nico for a second. But anyway, what I did learn from this chapter is that if you throw a shard of solidified plane, space, time, I don't know, at a Draugr or a troll, it makes them shatter into 1,000 pieces like they were made out of glass, which, I mean, that's a neat party trick. Yeah, I said it before, I'll say it again. I hate control colors, and I really don't like the way Nico works in the game, but, you know, next time I'm surrounded by 10,000 Draugr, which it's been known to happen, first thing that runs through my mind, we're going to need a crowd control wizard, so, you know, hey, control magic's got its place. So apparently Varagoth was still mad from before and was done fighting Tyler for some reason. He just goes crashing through the ranks of Draugr, just go my way. His armor didn't look so good. Looks like he had been losing some fights against some people. And he lost his axe. That's a shame. He was bleeding from a dozen different wounds now. Maybe they're finally going to get to him, because my gosh, can that guy shake some stuff off. But yeah, he was still walking. Or running, and really, I mean, they say he was still upright, but I mean, that guy was straight jogging, good for him. Get them gains, get that cardio going. Just because you're in a battle doesn't mean you shouldn't, do a couple laps, get that heart pumping. Oh, and then it says, clinging to his back, red hair darkened with blood and eyes unfocused, was Tyvar. So I guess he wasn't about to let him escape. That's actually pretty funny. By the way, there's a subplot. There's another battle going on while I'm reading this. It's me versus this one freaking fungus gnat that still survived after I used every chemical known to man to kill him in my little mini garden that's behind me. I upgraded the lights, by the way. It's actually pretty ballin' now. Dude, 3 days after I got them lights, my basil plants are exploding, dude. Fresh basil? Oh. I got 1.5 feet of Greek oregano, and I can just chop that up, put that in my ramen, and it classes it right up. It brings it from 35 cents to 55 cents, just immediately. But anyway, I've been trying to kill this stupid last fungus gnat. I killed 4 of them today, and there's not that many left. I found out I was kind of overwatering it, whatever. But there's just this one, okay? This is the grand final champion of the fungus gnats, and I've been trying to kill him just by slapping the air, and I'm pretty darn fast. And I just missed him for the 14th damn time in the last half hour while recording this, and I swear I'm about to go get a taser, a gun or something. This thing's pissing me off, but if I kill it before the end of this video, I will let you know. But back in the less exciting battle, Harold hissed out some kind of magic word and snakes sprung from the ground, because of course. But no, not just snakes, magic snakes with runic lettering on them. They wrapped around Varagoth's legs, binding him until he ripped them apart barehanded. Actually, when Nissa did that with Roots to Nicol Bolas, she actually, had him for a second. He couldn't get away for a couple seconds. It's a good strategy. Ken Verify used to use the high-level version in RuneScape, just saying. Nico chucked a shard of who the hell knows what towards the demon, but he caught it. Well, caught it's a little generous. The exact phrasing was, he caught it in one of the iron plates still affixed to his arm, and it bounced off harmlessly. So apparently, solidified plate or shard material can be stopped by iron. I mean, my bet would have been lead, but sure. Well, Tyler's still on his back, and he jabbed that brass blade that he turned his hand into the demon's wing, which, that's gotta be a weak point, because he roared with pain and fury, reaching back to grab Tyvar. But, it's like trying to scratch that one part on your back that you can't reach. Although, I don't know, I actually just tried it now. I can pretty much reach every part of my back, so that's odd. Maybe other people are just really fat? I don't know. I mean, I'm a little husky, but I got some wide-ass shoulders. But then anyway, Kaya was like, hey, he's paying attention to Tyler, not me. Well, you know how Kaya works. She's not one to be like, yes, let's trade blows. No, she put her axe straight into his throat, and he just straight up fell over. Everybody's like, Kaya's so powerful, she's OP, well, it's almost the end of the chapter, hasn't killed Vorinclex, but okay, I heard it happens. Probably one of the side chapters. But everybody's like, well, that's ridiculous. I mean, they're super powerful, the Praetors. Yeah, probably. I don't know anything about them, but it's like, how do you fight somebody who can just phase in and out, phase right through your arm as you try and block something and then stab you in the throat? I mean, she's literally a trained assassin and she can phase in and out. How do you deal with that? I mean, that's on a bunch of different superhero movies and stuff. Somebody as fast as the Flash or Quicksilver or something. How do you even fight that? You can't react to it. There's certain powers where it's just it doesn't matter how strong you are, it doesn't matter your telekinetic powers, whatever. It's what are you going to do about somebody who's faster than your reflexes? What are you going to do about an opponent that you can't touch because they'll just phase through everything, So, yeah, they designed her as a bit of a Mary Sue, which is somebody who comes in and is just needlessly, unexplainably powerful. But, her power set kind of makes sense. It is kind of OP, but it makes sense. And it's like, would she be able to take down Varagoth after like, oh, the gods barely were able to? Well, the gods fight like on his terms. They fight clean. They're like, let's swing axes at each other and use armor and stuff and move at normal speeds and not become insubstantial. Plus, they kind of did defeat him by swarming him and splitting his attention, which is how she just killed him now. So it's like, people saying, oh, she's too powerful. It matches her character design. I mean, if you could say her character design is too powerful, okay. I would say the exact same thing about Scarlet Witch, just saying. If you read her wiki page, but to say, oh, well, with her power set, she's not powerful enough to take down Vorinclex and the demon, no, she is. When her greatest enemy and weakness is muscle fatigue and just running out of gas because she can just phase through anybody's defenses and strike them at a critical point, I mean, yeah, that's how she works, just saying. Plus, personally, I think her power set's kind of cool. I know every last person at Wizards who designed her was like, I hate men and I hate white people, so let's make Kaya super powerful. But if you can get past that, she's kind of a cool character. So just because she was designed by a bunch of sexist, racist, hateful pieces of human garbage doesn't mean that I can't just be like, well, that's kind of cool, that's kind of neat, that's kind of unique. So anyway, right after Varagoth falls, she hears some kind of rushing water sound from behind her. A bunch of rainbow bright magic energy spews forth like some My Little Pony episode. I assume, never seen the show. And then suddenly the rift in the ground that was leaking Draugr like a leaky faucet was sealed up. So the magic is starting to work. He's separating the realms again with the power of the epic super rainbow sword of doom. So two of the demons who weren't actively fighting the Valkyries were like, okay, I see which way this is going. I'm out. They started trying to retreat. So eventually they wiped out the rest of the Draugr, and without reinforcements, they just didn't have numbers. So they just used tactics and, superior speed and probably superior weapons on them and just wiped them all out. And Tyler and Kaya are walking, and Tyler says, I personally slew close to 100 Draugr and 3 demons. It is my guess, though, that they will be telling tales of you, Kaya, for a long time. The woman who killed Varagoth. And then he assumes they'll give her the title of Slayer of the Blood Sky Sire. I guess that's his nickname? And Kaya's just like, make sure to get the details right. No joke, she actually said that. I'm not kidding. So Tyler's like, actually, I might not be around to correct the details and tell the tale. And Kaya's like, oh, you're actually going to go somewhere? Because remember, he's a planeswalker, but he was like, no, I'd prefer to just travel these realms, and I don't see a reason to go outside of them. And so he just, on a whim was like, maybe I should go see the multiverse. I guess before they were hinting at it, because he was like, well, you're a bit of an interesting character. I've never met someone like you, Kaya. Well, plus remember, he had accidentally planeswalked to Zendikar before, because he got like a little Hedron necklace. So it's not like he's never left his home. He thought it was another plane of Kaldheim that he was in. Kind of makes you wonder how he knows how to get back and how he couldn't tell the difference between inter-realm travel and interplanar travel when the rest of the planeswalkers had trouble using their planeswalking abilities to travel between the realms. In fact, they couldn't. You'd think he'd be able to spot the difference. I mean, even like Tyler said, like he had to learn some pretty advanced magic, like actual just like, hey, let's use magic to open a temporary portal between the realms to travel between it. But then planeswalking, it's like, yeah, it uses mana, it uses magic, but like, you don't open a portal, you just kind of shift yourself, So it's like, for him to not know the difference, I'm not buying it. I think that's a pretty weak point to this story. There's a couple of them too, by the way. Yeah, a couple of plot holes, but overall, whatever. Interesting story, I guess. I sure hope something happens to Tybalt, but I think he bailed. He's in another plane by now. He was just, I'm out. Remember, he got infected by like Phyrexian oil or something like that, or some kind of Phyrexian magic curse thing, and then he had to create, quote, a distraction for Vorinclex to get away, I guess. Otherwise, Vorinclex would use Phyrexian magic to, like, I don't know, kill him or something. I don't know. It wasn't real clear, but that's why he came and did it. So he's like, all right, well, my job's done. These are all going to go to war. Bye. You boys leave and I'm out. Peace. Good luck with World War III, bitches. I still want to know how or why he left the sword behind him. I just like not remembering something here. Maybe he's just like, I don't know, this doesn't work in other realms and just chucked it. Or did Kaya like steal it off him? Or I don't remember. I don't know. Somebody will correct me in the comments, I'm sure. So Kaya talks to Inga, who I think was like the original quest giver NPC who told her to go kill Vorinclex or something. And she's like, okay, legit actual theory, the Draugr might melt in the warmer months. So they're just going to leave that on the table as a possibility. But the demons that escaped, now those they'll be having trouble with for years, unfortunately. So yeah, some of them did flee battle and they're still in Bredegard. So Arnie's like, I'm going to fight the crap out of them. Sounds like fun. Okay, finally, after reading this, Inga says, "What will you do now, Kaya? You still have a monster to catch, don't you?" Oh, so they didn't resolve it in one of the side stories necessarily, unless one came out after this, which I don't know. I'll have to skim them. I probably won't make a video on them, but I'll skim them. It says, yeah, Kaya says she hadn't forgotten about the thing in the cave, even though it seemed like 100 years since her voyage with the Omen Seekers. No telling where it ended up after all this, though, and I've got a hunch that it can travel a lot farther than just between the realms. What's beyond the realms? Asked Nico. Wait, Nico, who came from Theros? How many planeswalkers don't know they're planeswalkers? Is TLC going to have a show now called I Didn't Know I Was a Planeswalker? They already had I Didn't Know I Was Pregnant, which my mom would tune into just so every 5 minutes she could say, I don't believe them. They were in denial. They knew they were pregnant. I was pregnant twice with you and your brother. I swear, you know you're pregnant. And I'm like, Mom, why do you even watch this show? And she's like, to yell at the people on the TV. I'm like, oh, I've watched shows for similar reasons. Wait. Now Nico steps up and says, these planes that you're talking about, is there one called Theros? You are from Theros. What is going on here? I'm pretty sure one of the side stories filled in something about Nico, but like I'm confused without reading it here. So legit, after trying to explain all of this to Tyler, she's like, oh good, another one. So then she sighs and says, we should probably talk. So I guess Nico probably just, became a planeswalker very recently, and yet already knows how to throw pieces of solidified plane material at people, which somehow doesn't damage the plane. Not buying it. So then they actually have an epilogue that's titled Epilogue, and the first sentence is, Essica was dying. Wait a minute, isn't she the one who makes the elixir out of the sap that the gods have to keep drinking to be gods? So it says that wasn't supposed to happen. She was a god. Gods get killed. It happens. Happened on Amonkhet. They had it coming. Ew. Anyway, it was by her hand, in fact, that the gods were freed from their mortality. Once again, apparently not. It was Essica who brewed the potion of divinity from the sap of the world tree, the draught that kept death at bay, and yet she could feel the life escaping her, running down her arms, her body, her face. She couldn't move her legs. Like, seriously, what happened to her? Was she in a battle or something? I really should read the rest of these. Well, so far with what they wrote, it's heavily implied that when Vorinclex disappeared through the, liquid metal / crystalline wall of the cave or whatever the hell was going on in that chapter, it ended up in Essica's secret sanctum, and nobody had ever found her there before. So apparently Vorinclex killed a god, and also, sounds like Kaya didn't kill Vorinclex yet. So there you go. Everybody complaining, Kaya's OP. Well, sounds like Vorinclex got away and took a god with her. Or him, I don't know. So Vorinclex walks over to like the well that, connects to the tree or whatever. And she's like, oh man, we about to get some Phyrexian poison in the whole world tree. And I thought, oh, they're going to poison the whole realm with Phyrexian crap and then leave and then it'll be a sequel 10 years from now. Nope. Vorinclex takes one of the glasses off, shelf or whatever, dips it in the world tree sap, the little pool of, world tree essence, and then says to somebody, sample acquired. I am ready to return. To whom it was speaking, Essica had no idea. Suddenly, there was a bright, strobing light in the center of the chamber. A hissing, sparking red glow that began as a single star and spread slowly into a circle. The circle widened. This was no omen path. She could see now. It was magic she had never seen before. From the other side of the portal came a sound, so unearthly and strange she almost didn't recognize it as a voice. Welcome back, Vorinclex. We step ever closer to perfection. Ooh, was it another one of the Praetors, or did somebody resurrect Yawgmoth? Because I think he's dead. I'm not up on the Phyrexian lore, like at all. So someone somewhere knows Vorinclex by name, has the power to tell Vorinclex what to do and order them around, and then send Vorinclex to retrieve a sample of World Tree sap specifically from just this place. I mean, it could be Nicol Bolas. I don't think Nicol Bolas would say we step ever closer to perfection, but I mean, I don't know, it could be a red herring. It could be Nicol Bolas in disguise, but I don't think that we're going to see Bolas back as an enemy until at least after the Phyrexians, after some conflict with them, another one, and then probably also Emrakul. And remember, Strixhaven is probably just going to kind of be its own thing, and then the D&D set is definitely going to be its own thing. hey, you never know, but I mean, I think they'll just be self-contained, hey, here's this thing, whatever. But then after that, we're going to Innistrad, and it's going to have something to do with vampires and werewolves. Great, not interested, who cares? Better have something to do with Emrakul, just saying. She's literally there in the moon, eating delicious moon cheese, doing nothing. And she allowed herself to be trapped for some reason. What's the reason? I mean, I'd love to find out, so I'm looking forward to the more interesting ongoing parts of the lore, hopefully around the end of 2021. That would be nice. But then after that, we already know we're going to Kamigawa somewhere in the near future. And they do something with like moon magic. So maybe, I mean, I'd hate to have them go to Innistrad, go get some moon priestesses from, Kamigawa, and then come back to Innistrad for like the 5th damn time. I think if it came to that, they would go fight Emrakul at a different realm, like a different plane. No, I'm saying realm. Look at me. I'm all Kaldheimed up. So interesting ending. I mean, we get the anonymous, hiding behind a mysterious voice, but suggested to be maybe Yawgmoth, aka Mr. Perfectionist. I mean, who else would say that except for, all of the Praetors, I assume. But somebody found a way to open an interplanar portal that non-planeswalkers can travel through. That's concerning, because you're not supposed to be able to do that post-mending. Which, I mean, wasn't that like 2007, 2008? So, like, yeah. Only inorganic matter or undead, dead undead things can travel through a giant planar portal. So they sent the army of the undead to Ravnica. Remember, Bolas did that. And then we had Tezzeret reach out through a portal between the planes with like a portal he built actually to grab that big old super powered battery disc thing from Pirateville, Ixalan. I'm so good with names. So yeah, artifacts, undead, objects, anything other than a living thing. I guess probably just souls can't pass through portals. So like, how did Vorinclex travel there? And it's not like, oh, Vorinclex stole a spark or developed a spark and now we got Vorinclex the Planeswalker. No, because clearly somebody else was directing that portal. So whatever magic that is, oh boy, that's a hell of an invention. That's really the big takeaway lore-wise. That is very significant. So, hey, that is the end of the Kaldheim lore. I thought it was pretty well written. Shout out to Roy Graham and Jenna Helland and Roy Graham's adorable dog. Don't forget to leave a like on the video, or don't. I don't care. Nobody's going to view this anyway. I'll be lucky if this breaks 2K views, but yeah, I gotta go record an actual worthwhile video. I mean, I was gonna read this anyway, might as well make a video on it, even though it takes 3 times longer. But anyway, I'll see you guys next video.